This video is dedicated to Rafael Acevedo. You are my dear friend and I miss you very much. This is also a reminder to stop texting and driving. If you stop texting and driving, you could save lives in the process. Alright motherfuckers, this is my take on this whole DriveClub review situation and just reviews in general. Let's start this off from the Sony fanboys perspective. I'm gonna rant on Sony fanboys right now. Last generation, they would brag about their exclusives, and they would say they had more exclusives than the Xbox 360, when that's a lie. They didn't have more exclusives, but they did have games with higher meta scores, and they also bragged about that as well. And they pretty much were saying that since these games had higher review scores, therefore they were better than your games that don't have reviews like ours. You have only this amount of games above 70 in your library, while we have this many games above 70. That was pretty much their entire argument the last generation towards the end of it. And some of it's justified and some of it's not, because reviews, in my opinion, take them with a grain of salt. It depends on the reviewer, and Metacritic is an accumulation of a bunch of reviews. So what I do is I find my favorite sites and I go by what they do, and I find my favorite reviewers on YouTube. 3 Kilobytes is my favorite probably, because I trust their opinions always, and I always agree. I'm 99% of the time agree with it. But in my opinion, some games on that PlayStation library that scored shit like 90s and 80s don't deserve it. Like Infamous Second Son, that game got an 80 on Metacritic. I think it deserves a 70, 75 if I'm generous. Games like Little Big Planet do not deserve 90s. They deserve 70, 75s max, in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. See, everybody could disagree with reviews. And Sony fanboys were saying that DriveClub was going to get a higher Metascore than Forza Horizon 2, which it did not. And those two are different racing games, so you can't really compare the two. It's kind of unfair. But DriveClub was delayed a year, and it still has less content than Forza Horizon 2, and it has less content than Forza 5, which was a rushed product. Everyone knows Forza 5 was rushed to the market and has more content than DriveClub. And people were complaining about the lack of content in Forza 5, which is what I'm talking about. And Forza 5 shipped with 200 cars, DriveClub shipping with 50, and it came out months later. While people complain about Forza 5 being incomplete and shit like that, having to patch shit in at the end, like later on, DriveClub has to patch stuff in as well. So DriveClub, from a content standpoint, it's factually worse than the other two, but from a gameplay standpoint, I haven't played it. And racing games are all good to me. Well, it depends on the handling, but if the handling's fine, the game is fine. There's nothing really bad about it. And we got these Xbots running around saying that a 6 is a bad score, yet they praised Rise, which got a 6. You see, Xbots are kind of exposing themselves as well, just as Sony fanboys are, because they're still enjoying DriveClub, but they used to brag about, you have to have this amount of Metascore to be good. If this game doesn't have this, it's not good. Like they said Dead Rising, they said Infamous has a better score than Dead Rising, therefore it is better, when I disagree. And Sony fanboys are making themselves look bad, and so are Xbox fanboys, because they enjoyed Rise Son of Rome. They enjoyed the countless Xbox 360 exclusives like Crackdown, which got average scores. And DriveClub has got a 70 on Metacritic, and I think IGN skewed the review, honestly. They gave it a 7.9. There's another problem I have with reviewers. They give you that 0.9 shit. Like, what's the difference between a 5.9 and a 6.0? Please tell me, enlighten me. Give me 6, 6.5. That's why I prefer the 5-star thing, or the A, B, A to F thing. I don't like this 9.7, 9.4. What is the difference? Can you tell me? Is there a mathematical equation that goes to this? Explain to us. But fanboys are exposing themselves left and right. They enjoyed Rise, which I have not played Rise, but it got a 6. I believe it got a 60. And 60 doesn't mean bad. It means average. And people are calling it terrible, just like DriveClub, which got around the same, and people are calling it terrible. 60 is actually above average, because 5 is technically average since it's in the middle. 60 is above average, 70 is good, 80 is great, 9's amazing, 10 is perfect. So people, quit downplaying playing 6s. A 6 could be a good game. And here's how I view reviews. If something gets if this guy gives it a 7, it might be a 9 to me. If this guy gives this an 8, it could be a 10 to me. If he gives it an 8, it could be a 7 to me. If it gets above the 7 range, it could fluctuate. So stop taking reviews to heart. That's the message of my point. Because fanboys, number one, you're making yourself look stupid. Sony fanboys and Xbox fanboys, both of you are retarded for doing this. Reviews aren't everything. Don't take them serious. Take them with a grain of salt. It's all opinion at the end of the day. So just enjoy your own games. Have fun with your games. And just leave it at that. If you're gonna compare them. Don't use review scores. Compare them by content. Compare them with factual things. Oh, and I forgot to mention, DriveClub. It appears to have been. It appears to be downgraded. From what I see, it doesn't look as good as what they show, but they do need to patch some stuff in. So maybe that patches in graphics, which I don't know. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you for listening to what I have to say. I don't give a fuck about review scores. Well, I kind of do, but I take it with a grain of salt, or a couple chunks of salt. I don't take them to heart like Sony fanboys and Xbox fanboys. Peace out.